Welcome to the Show Me the Way podcast. I am your host, Andrea Miller, and I'm so excited to bring this show to you. Show Me the Way is a podcast dedicated to exploring the journeys of those who have faced adversity and found themselves on unexpected paths. We will have meaningful, thoughtful conversations about challenges we have faced and how we discovered and forged new direction. Prepare to be inspired and to uncover your own strength as you listen to relatable and motivating stories. Life has a way of twisting and turning, and we often need a fresh perspective to understand how to navigate. Let's show each other the way. What a great episode full of inspiring nuggets. This week, I'm thrilled to welcome the incredible Victoria MacKellar to the show. I first met Victoria while networking alongside a group of amazing women, and from the moment we connected, I knew she was someone truly special. Victoria has lived a life full of bold moves and big heart, never letting fear stand in the way of her pursuit of joy. From following a passion for the automotive industry to nonprofit event management to opening a dog grooming business with her entrepreneurial spirit, Victoria's journey is one of reinvention, resilience, and relationship. She shares so openly about the lessons she's learned, the risks she's taken, and the trust she's built with her husband, supporting one another every step of the way. Victoria is someone that I look up to and truly love being around. Her openness to new experiences and her constant support for others is such a gift. This is a conversation filled with heart, wisdom, and reminders that there's always something to learn from everyone you meet and every experience you have. You're going to walk away with so much from this one. And be sure to follow Grapes and Greens to learn more about the upcoming golf and wine tasting fundraiser, and also Wolfgang Dog Grooming, both in Northville, Michigan. Welcome back to the Show Me the Way podcast. Today we have the honor of speaking with Victoria MacKellar. Although we haven't known each other that long, in a short time I've learned so much from her about trying new things, faith over fear, moving forward with intention and purpose. Victoria and I met through a networking group where women entrepreneurs support one another and learn together. She's definitely a busy woman with lots on her plate, so I'm really excited that we were able to get her on the show. I'm sure that she has many stories that she wants to share, but we will just have a conversation and see what kind of perspective we can get from Victoria. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad I could make this work.
Good. So before we jump into any particular story, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about you? I know I shared just a little tidbit, but would love to hear more about you.
Yes, happy to. So, my name is Victoria MacKellar. I am originally from Kansas, grew up on a farm, lived there my whole life. I am married. I have one daughter and I have 3 stepchildren here in Michigan. And I have been living in Michigan since 2011. Prior to that, I came from Texas, where I lived for 6 years, where I was working in the corporate world. So I made the big move a couple years after I had graduated college to move to Texas, which is a big move for my family. Not many people leave Kansas, so I was one of the first one to kind of branch out and leave the state. So that was exciting. It was something that I knew I could do and I knew I wanted to do from the college time. So I've made a couple moves from there, which has been exciting and kind of built my backstory and made me to who I am today. But a lot of it comes from how I was brought up. So I've taken every advantage I possibly could, every opportunity, and turned it into where I sit today, which, like you said, is very busy. But I have a very blessed life. I have a lot of good people around me, which gives me the ability to do what I do and push me to be where I am and be the kind of person that we are today.
Awesome. So what made you come back to Michigan
I was
or
working for
to
Chrysler
Michigan?
Corporation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was working for Chrysler Corporation, which is why I moved to Texas. And so I lived there for 6 years and then I had the opportunity to come here to headquarters in 2011 and work in the office. So
Gotcha.
this is second to Texas now. This is the longest place that I have lived. But it was in corporate America role, and welcome to Detroit. This is where you move when you're in the automotive
When you're
world.
automotive, yes.
Uh-huh.
My
Yes.
husband works automotive too. So yeah, Michigan is our home. All right. And the big question is, where do you prefer the weather? Like, do you prefer the heat in Texas or all the seasons here in Michigan?
Texas all the way. I prefer Texas weather. I love the heat. I do like the seasons here. The season I don't like is winter. Which is
Right.
what we get a lot of. And it's okay for a while, but come January, I'd rather not have any more of it. So I
Yes.
prefer the heat, the sunshine, and less snow and cold.
Yes. I think most Michiganders would agree with that too. So, well, good. I, for one, am glad you're in Michigan because it was really such a pleasure to meet you and I'm getting to know you every day and it's great. So, I'm glad you're here. And I'm also very glad you're on the podcast. And, I've asked so many people to be guests. So I've had quite a few people. And, some people are like, oh, yeah, I have an exact moment. I have this pivotal time. I have this challenge or something that I dealt with. I want to share what I learned from it. I want to make an impact for your listeners. And some people say, what would I talk on? I don't know. And I say to myself, even no matter what your age is, if you're old lady like me or if you're young like my niece who was on, everybody has a story. Everybody's been
Yeah.
through something in their life that maybe looked a little bit different than what they expected. So, yes, some people have come on and shared very deep stories about diagnoses, medical diagnoses for themselves or their children, or they have shared major, major moves or wow, I really thought I was going to go into this industry and then I changed to this. There's been all kinds of stories, but every single one of us has a story where we thought we were on one path and then we needed to switch. So, like I told Victoria before we got started on this, whatever's on her heart is what I know us listeners are going to want to hear. And I also keep telling people there's a lot of people that we schedule and then we have to be flexible and change. And Victoria and I have had to change this quite a few times, but every single time that happens, the time that we speak is when we were supposed to speak. So I have no doubt that we're going to get some good perspective and information from you today.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't have necessarily one moment in my life that has kind of brought me to where I am. It's really little pieces of everywhere I've been, everyone I've been around, everyone I've worked with, learned from, met along the way. Growing up in Kansas in a very small town of 5,000 people, very tight knit, very small. You don't think of branching out and really moving on. So when I made the decision to go to college, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go to college to be a teacher because I have to go to college. I have to do something, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And when I toured my school, Pittsburgh State University in Kansas, we toured the automotive technology department. It was a brand new technology center. And I looked at my mom and I said, this is what I want to do. And she said, really? I said, yes, I'm going to be a rep for an automotive company someday. And she said, well, what if they want to move you to California? And I said, then I'll move to California. And at that moment, I had set my first goal, but I hadn't realized I had set my goal because when you're 18 years old, you don't really realize that's what you're doing. But I wasn't afraid of it. I wasn't afraid of moving away, taking on something, but I knew what I wanted to do. So, right out of college, they didn't move me to California. I started work in a dealership in Wichita, Kansas. So, I kind of started from the ground level, which has really built me to where I am today. I take pieces of all of my roles and everyone that I've worked around with me. And then I got my real big girl job, and they said, "Okay, you're going to move to Texas." And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's move it. And that was my first challenge. I remember when I had to go down and interview, they put me on a plane. I had never been on a plane by myself. I think I'd only flown a couple other times. I had never eaten at a restaurant by myself. I was terrified of all of those things. Like, I can't eat dinner by myself. I can't go to a restaurant. And then I did it and it becomes such second nature. There have been moments in the past 20 years of my career where I'll wake up in a hotel room and I'm not really sure what city I'm in because I've traveled so much. And to think of me when I was just out of college, I couldn't imagine getting on a plane every week, renting a car, going to a city I don't know where I am or anything about it. And now it becomes very second nature for me. So it it's taking all those little pieces and the little moments that made me feel uncomfortable, I've grown from them. Someone told me a long time ago, do something that makes you uncomfortable every single day because that makes you a better person. I had a boss who completely tore apart a proposal that I put together time after time after time. And I finally said, if you just keep doing this, why don't you just do it yourself? He said, because that doesn't make you a better person. I want you to think outside the box. So I think of that and I take that with me in whatever I do. If I am doing something that makes me feel uncomfortable, it's because I've never done it before and it's trying to teach me something. So I can either not do it and decide, you know what, this is too hard. I don't want to be a part of it. Or I can figure it out and I can learn from it. And along with it, I can also maybe teach somebody else because I'm around so many people. I'm around so many people every day. Who else can I help find a little nugget in something that's useful, make themselves uncomfortable to make them a better person. And that I take with me and I learn from that as well, because I could be helping someone around me but not even realizing it. That same person also told me, and this was very true in the work environment, but I've learned it's very true in life as well. Whenever you're in a meeting or whenever you're with somebody, leave a little nugget. That's what we always used to tell us, leave a little nugget. And at first I didn't understand it, but leave something that they remember you by, either big, small, or something else. And I take that in meeting people. If you meet somebody and you've left a little nugget, how are they going to remember you? How do you want to be remembered? And you might not be doing it consciously. A lot of times it's subconsciously, but bringing your best self all the time, which sometimes is very hard to do when you have 1,000 other things to do, but bringing your best self every time and thinking, what nugget do I want to leave for this person? And also, in the flip side, what nugget do I want to take away with whoever I'm meeting, whether in the corporate world, the business world, personal life, just in day to day life? What pieces do I want to take away from that person? Because they might teach me something about myself as well. So that one little saying very early in my career has stuck with me through all parts of life right now.
I love that. I think that nugget thing that is really cool. And it's really making me think so much about how many times you hear women, especially, will say, "What's our purpose? What are we supposed to be
Yeah.
doing?" And I think about that all the time. But even with this podcast, I'm trying to make an impact, even if it's 5 listeners. So that's really cool because I think that's kind of what we're all going after. What can we leave behind, legacy or not, even if it's
Yeah.
just a teeny little piece of information? So, oh, that is something I'm keeping with me. I'm glad you
Good.
shared that.
Good. And when you deal with it within meeting people just in day to day life, whatever nugget you've taken away, when you meet that person again, because hopefully you do end up meeting numerous peoples and creating new circles, just like I've met you and all the ladies in our group, that can be used for you learn more about that person because you've thought about it. And now maybe you have more questions about that, or tell me more about that. You made this comment when we met, and I'd love to learn more about that. So you can help build relationships that way too. And to your point, everybody, what do you do for a living? What's your purpose? What do you do every day? That's not our full purpose. If we can't have full, fulfilling lives and careers and educations if we don't surround ourselves with the right people. And throughout our lives, those people change, and that's okay. Everyone grows. Some people grow out of people, some people grow into new people. Your circle is the most important. You have to have a good circle around you. Um, Me and my husband talk about it with our second marriage. We were planning a wedding a few years ago. Who do you invite? Do you have this massive wedding, or do you have just the people that are close to you? So we really got to talking about this conversation, and we still use it today. We have circles of friends. Everybody has your inner circle where if you're going to have a party, those people are going to get invited every single time you have that party. Now, if I want to have a little bit bigger party, or if I want to do something else, now I might go to my outer circle. Who's that outer circle that I can add into that? And then there's that extended circle where they're there. You might not have daily interaction with them. You might just be Facebook friends, or they might be friends from past. But having different levels of those circles, I think, is important too, because even those people bring different aspects to your life that might be helpful or from your past. But that core circle is your core, your go-to. Who do I go to when I need somebody? Who do I go to when I want to fill my tank, hanging around my girlfriends or extended friends? But we talk about our circle a lot, and some people move throughout those circles. Some may not always live in that inner circle, but then there's those ones where, oh my gosh, I turned 42 years old and now I've met my new best friend. And that's okay too, because you interact with different people in different ways based on what life has brought you.
That is very, very true. I actually was just having a conversation like this with my son. As many of you know, I started this podcast mainly to share the story of my younger son having Duchenne muscular dystrophy and how we were on a particular path. And then when we heard of that diagnosis, it just turned upside down and we knew that we needed to make a lot of changes. And I think this is true of anybody, not just of someone in a wheelchair, but I always tell him, like, you have so many people around you that would do things for you, that would help you with things, that hold the door, grab books out of your backpack, things like that. And that's wonderful. But make sure you hold on to the couple of kids that have just stuck by you no matter what, put up with anything you bring to them, just would be there no matter what. And he
Yeah.
had a friend spend the night this weekend who's known him since he was in kindergarten. They're now in 10th grade and they've remained friends. And this kid just is always around. He always puts up with him. He's just there whenever my son needs somebody. And I said, it's really important to hold on to that person and to
Yeah.
share back to them so that they know you're there for them as well. And it just was a really good conversation, I think, for a 15-year-old to think about.
Yeah, everybody needs one of those in their life. Some people have more of them, but everybody needs one at different stages of hopefully that friend for your son sticks around and that's lifelong
Hmm.
potentially. But if not, as your life changes and you grow, finding a new one of those is okay too, because you might need different things from different people. So whoever gave you what you needed previous part of your life might not give you what you need, and they might not be willing to, or might not be able to for whatever
Right.
they're going through. Their path might have changed as well, and now they need and want something different as well. So that is a really important lesson to teach somebody young, because friends come and go when you're young. You don't really
Yes.
value, or you don't see the value in them of why you actually need them.
Yes, for sure. That's great advice. Okay, so getting back, first of all, I want to know what excited you about the automotive world. What made you say, that's what I want to do?
I have
I'm
always
curious.
loved cars.
Okay.
Growing up, always liked to see different cars when we would go on trips, different cars that were outside of our little town that we were in. So I've always been interested in them, more of just what are they, not necessarily how they work, until we toured that automotive facility at the school. It was what they told us we could do and what we could do with our careers. And something just clicked. Seeing the new cars in the facility, Chrysler and Toyota and Lexus donated cars and electronics and things for us to learn on. And it was something just clicked. So from then on, it's just stayed with me. I've always enjoyed that part of it, but I always enjoy learning more. So I got to
Hmm.
enjoy and learn more about just the car itself, how it works, the intricates of it. And once you're in the automotive industry, as many people are probably listening are, it's very hard to get away from.
For sure.
You always keep
Definitely.
going back to it in some aspect, or
Hmm.
in some aspect, there's always a conversation to be had with somebody about it. You know, somebody who's in the automotive industry, a spouse or whatever. So there's always part of that conversation, especially obviously living here in the Detroit area.
Hmm.
It's all over the place. So it's very hard to get away from.
For
But that's
sure.
okay sometimes. That's
Yes.
okay.
No, that's what I just kind of clung on to that because many people that I talk to and what I went through, it's like, I don't know what I want to do when I'm older. I still don't know what I want to do when I'm older. And so I love hearing when people find a passion early on and then stick with it too. It's kind of
Mhm.
neat that you continue to do that. Sometimes people have this passion and then as soon as they graduate college, they go into something completely different. It's like, well, what happened to that? So I think I'm just very interested when people have a passion and they move forward with it. But I also wanted to highlight too, like I said, I haven't known you for very long. And even in my intro, when I was putting it together, I just thought, gosh, she really does go after things. She's not afraid to try new things. And it's funny that you said a few of those pieces as you were sharing things about yourself. I'm like, wow, okay, that was something that you must have just put out there the second I met you, just listening to you talk, it's like, wow, she'll go after things. And it seems like that is true. And so I'm going to kind of shift gears. I know you've done other things besides
Yes.
automotive. So what made you try some of these different things?
That all goes to my husband. He is a very entrepreneurial mind. He will think of something, and we have to figure out how to make it work. So getting things added to my plate and sitting in that position going, I don't know how to do this. I've never done this before. That's okay. We'll figure it out. That probably first started with our first big venture, which kind of led us into our charity organization that we have now. Is my husband and his business partner at the time decided to do the Northville Food and Wine Festival, which ran for a few years. That undertaking and putting on a festival in Northville, I didn't know how to do all that stuff. My husband learned a lot about it. He had a big piece. His business partner does a lot of festivals and things like that. But it was taking what I know and what I can do, and I took on that aspect of it. So, talking about the silent auction, getting things for that, going out and meeting people, talking to people. Here's what we're planning. Come to the festival. I'm the kind of person that almost everywhere I go, I'm going to be talking to somebody. He tells me all the time, why do people just see like talk to you in the grocery line? I don't know. I'm just friendly. So, but you learn about things about people. So that COVID kind of happened and our lives changed drastically, as did everyone else's. So we shifted gears, which brought us to our 501c3 that we currently have. Last year was our first year that we hosted the Greens and Grapes event. So it was at St. John's Resort, and it benefited the Ronald McDonald House Children's Charities of Ann Arbor and the Northville Educational Foundation. It was similar to what we had done with the Northville Food and Wine Festival, except it added in a golf outing. And it was really all designed around that golf outing during the day, which was the greens part of it. And then we had the wine event at night. So instead of a true 2 or 3 day festival, we bundled it all up into one day. And from beginning of day to end of the day, it was a day filled of fun, prizes, golfing, wine. So doing that, it's hard work. It's a lot of fun. The best thing about it is the fulfillment you get on that day. When everybody's coming in, they're having a good time, they're thanking you for everything you've done. And then in the end, when you get to present that money to the charities, and you know all this fun people are having is for a good cause. So at the end, it bundles it all up and puts a bow on it of this is fulfilling. All these people I've talked to, they loved the day. They had a great time. When are you going to do it again? Which brings us into 2025, which we will be doing it again this year.
That's
So
great.
we've officially launched. It's going to be on Monday, July 14th. So again, at St. John's Resort, and very excited to come back for a second year. And running a charity 501c3 event, again, something I didn't know how to do, but we figured it out. Talking to people, women in our group, like leaning on them. Some of them had done it. So again, taking those little nuggets that you pick up from people, and let's all work together. Let's be supportive of each other, because most importantly, women need to support each other, but everybody needs to support each other. Lifting people up day after day, we can be our worst critic. It's very easy for us to tell someone else they did a good job or give someone else praise. But if we don't do that to ourselves, we're not doing ourselves any good. And sometimes that's really, really hard to do. And I'm learning that in the other aspect of our life, which we just took on late last year. We are the owners of Wolfgang Bakery and Grooming in Northville. So again, this was an idea. We always wanted something out of our corporate lives, my husband and I. What can we leave our children, or what's our legacy? It's not just working for someone else. So we found a franchise that wanted to come to Michigan, initially started in Florida, listened to the concept. My first reaction was, I don't know. I don't know if this is something, this is a big deal. This is not running a golf outing. I just don't know if we can do this. It took 5 minutes into the presentation, and we finished, and I looked at him and said, Cameron, we have to figure out how to do this. We have to bring this to Northville. We have to bring this to Michigan. I love the concept. So we got to work. We initially started looking for a location. We have found the perfect location in my mind. And for all of the listeners who have been to Wolfgang Bakery and Grooming in Northville, thank you for coming in. We're in the Strip Center at 7 in Haggerty, in the Trader Joe's shopping center next to Chipotle. It's a perfect location in the city of Northville. But the piece that really got me was we have a dog that we take in to get groomed. It was very transactional. I drop her off. Okay, she'll be ready in a few hours. I'll call you when she's done. And that was it. And I didn't know any different. I didn't know any better until I heard of this concept that it can be better. You can really show compassion and love to the dogs and cats. We do groom some cats and the pet parents. Especially in the past 5 years, our pets have become even more part of our family than they were before. More people have pets. More people are spending time at home with their pets. They get treated in some cases better than children. Some people have more pictures of their dog or cat on their phone than they do their children. Yes, my daughter has said it too. Like, Mom, I think you have more pictures of Gracie on here than me.
They're just so cute. You can't help it.
They do so many cute things, and you spend time with them all day.
All
So when you're
day.
making a cute face, so we wanted to bring this because we wanted to be able to show all these pet parents and give all these pet parents a place to bring their pet where they're going to be treated the same they are at home. just like children, I remember the first day I dropped my daughter off at daycare. It was a test day. I was going to go back to work. It was the most terrifying thing I've done. I cried all day. Oh my gosh, she's not going to be okay. And lo and behold, she was fine. 15 years later, she's still fine. But with pet parents, you don't, it's that feeling of I'm leaving my child with somebody and I don't know what's going to happen. So we wanted to give comfort in we're going to treat your pet the same way that gets treated when you're at home. Extra love, extra kisses. Our motto is everyone deserves a treat. So we love treating the pets when they come in, but it's making the pets feel comfortable because when you take pets to a vet or anytime they get in the car, sometimes the only place they're going is to the vet or to the groomers. Depending on the experience that they've had at that pet or at that grooming salon, maybe they don't want to go in the car. So now they're stressed out to begin with. So if we can provide a stress-free or a less stress environment for that pet, then we've won. We've helped that pet. And that's what we try and do every single day. Every pet gets a different treatment. In the case of some are very comfortable with the groomer. Some come in and they recognize our groomers and their tail wags and they get so happy when that groomer comes out the back door. Some a little bit more timid. And it could just be because that's their personality, or maybe they had a bad experience. So our groomers take that on. What do I need to do to make sure that this dog feels comfortable? Do I need to give them extra time? Do I just need to sit with them for a while? Do they not like the dryer? Maybe we need to take a few more breaks. And that's what we do. We don't force the dogs to go through anything that they're not comfortable with. And we're finding that the pet parents are really appreciative of that. We're also doing a lot of teaching. You have dogs, and the doodle craze is real. We have so many doodles that come in the door, and we love them. Sometimes pet parents aren't educated from the time they buy the doodle. Brushing is very, very, very important. And it's easy. We're victims. We don't brush our dog as much as we should or in the right way. But now I know how to do it. And our groomers take the time with our pet parents and show them how to do it. If they don't have the right tools, can we get them the right tools? We have them here in our store, showing them that all that done in between the grooming can make your pet feel more comfortable. And a lot of times pet parents just don't know. So if we can help them in small ways, even when it comes to pet nutrition, we get customers come in and talk about conditions of their pet's coat or skin, or, oh, that my dog has stomach issues. After asking more questions, we might find out that that's coming from the inside out. Just like us as people, our health comes from the inside out. We are what we eat. If we eat bad, we're not going to feel good, look good, all those things. It's very similar in pets too. They just can't tell us. So if we can help with that education piece, and we've been able to transition to different foods, give them healthier treats, they're more healthy all around, which can make them a better companion and better pet, and they feel better. So all those little aspects, again, leaving nuggets with somebody
Little
is
nuggets,
very
yes.
true in the Wolfgang world as well.
Wow. That was such a great explanation, and I will speak from experience that it was exactly what Victoria just explained. It was exactly how I felt with my dog when she tried Wolfgang last week. So, yeah, I'm so glad you shared all of that for our listeners, and we'll be sure to put the information in our show notes as well. But I think it just all goes back to trying something new, the faith over fear part, figuring something out, trying something that makes you uncomfortable every single day. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, I just kept thinking as you were talking, leaving the nuggets and leaving an impact, if on people or on our furry friends. So I loved that whole explanation. Thank you for that. And I'm sure that when you were back in college and you were thinking about the automotive world, you didn't picture that in years to come you would be into this nonprofit world and then open up a grooming location in
No,
Michigan, no less.
no, that was never on the cards, never on the cards. And I never pictured myself as a true entrepreneur. And I guess I could use that word to describe myself.
Yes, you can.
It's kind of hard to say. Again, it's self-fulfilling. Um, and we need to do that. So successful business owner, it's fun. I enjoy it. And if you don't do what you enjoy every single day, it's not worth it. This has really made me understand that I left the corporate world shortly before we opened Wolfgang, and all of my time energy, sweat, tears have gone into opening and making Wolfgang what it is today. And that goes along more with not just the pets and the pet parents that come in, but the people who work at Wolfgang. We wanted to create an environment that gave those people a comforting place to work that they love to come to every day. If they don't love to come to work every day, they're not going to be able to give the love that we need them to the pets. So providing that environment to them is very, very important to us. So everybody that we hire at Wolfgang, we know our customers are coming in and trusting their pets with us. So we know we have to put the right people in place, which is stressful. It's a lot of weight, but we're doing it for the right reasons. So we were actually just talking last night of, the comment is blood, sweat, and tears. Luckily, we've had no blood, but sweat and tears for the past 5 months now. We opened right before Christmas, have been 100% into Wolfgang. And it is fulfilling. Every day we wake up and say, okay, what's today going to be like? There might be challenges, there might be setbacks. But I heard someone else say, if you have a setback, don't think of it as, oh my gosh, this is awful. Now I have to return from this. Think of it as that's my new baseline, because now it's my new baseline. Now I need to work up from that. If you think of it as a setback or great, this is the end. Now I have to work back up from this. Just think it as that's my baseline. So I've kind of taken that with me. Just when you think everything's going good, you get a bump in the road. But that's okay. How do we deal with it? If you surround yourself with the right people that are there to support you and want you to succeed just as much as you want to succeed, it'll happen. And that's a big piece of it. The success of our store is the success of those that work with us in Wolfgang. And we appreciate every single pet parent that has walked the door for the first time, the second time, the third time, and keeps coming back, because knowing those faces that coming in and looking forward to them coming in, seeing their dog's name on the schedule going, oh, I can't wait to see Nala tomorrow. She was so cute last time. And it's so fulfilling. You get into that store. Every time I walk into that store, whether I'm stressed out, whether I have 1,000 things I need to do, my appointment book is full, it's happy. Everybody that walks in the door is happy. All the dogs, it's so fun to see them. So all the worries seem to go away. It's very much like being at Disneyland. Everyone's happy. So it's hard to have a bad day, but that's what makes it so fulfilling. And when you can walk around the store and from front to back, everybody's having a good day, that's what makes it worth it.
I love that. I'm loving everything you're saying. And it's not just about being an entrepreneur or being in the corporate world or not just about work. All of this relates to life in
It
general.
does.
And I love how you were talking about being joyful and the things that you do every day. That's something that I try to talk about a lot because my son has certainly taught me life is short and
Yes.
anything can change. And like we're talking about today, your path can look completely different down the line. You never know what is ahead. So love that you're bringing everything that you've learned and gathered to all of the things that you do every day. And then getting back to talking about your husband, working with your husband, there's a couple of things. A lot of the people that I've had on the show, we've had a lot of women, they always say, I have new ideas and I bring them to my husband. So it's interesting that he has more of that personality for you both and you just say, "Oh, okay, we'll figure it out." Usually I'm the one that's like, "Here's my big idea." So
Uh-huh.
I love that that came from him. So I want to hear more about that, but also you said a lot about women supporting women, but then you kind of changed what you were saying and you just said people in general. And I love that because, yes, we've had a lot of women on the show, but I am trying to promote that these stories, these perspectives, this advice, it's good for both women and
Mhm.
men.
Yeah.
And we're not just singling out women. We all need to support one another. So I really love that you brought that in because it's not just women supporting women, it's all of us lifting each other up.
Mhm.
So, what is it like, following your husband's ideas and then working with him?
Uh, it's a struggle some days. Um, we really balance each other out. While he has big, grandiose ideas, everybody needs somebody to kind of bring you down to earth, right? Whenever he has the comment of, you're going to love this idea. I know what's coming. So now I have to go, okay, I have to listen to him out. I have to hear everything he has to say. And then how can we make this work? Sometimes it's, yes, that's a great idea. And oh, by the way, what if we did this? So sometimes I am adding to that aspect of the thought starter that he's come up with. But then there's also the moments of, okay, but maybe we need to scale back in this way, or maybe we need to do this. So having that person that brings each other down to earth. Sometimes might get a little too involved in the maybe the personal aspect, but we need to maybe pull it back and it needs to be more business like, or vice versa. And some days I go, why am I doing all this? Why is my plate so full? I just want to go back to when I had a 9 to 5. But when I think about that, everything that I've added to my plate on top of that 9 to 5 is so fulfilling. And I know I've used that word a lot, but that's what it's about. If you feel good about something that you're doing and you're helping somebody else in whatever that looks like, whether it's charity, whether you're helping them be a better person, whether they're watching you and going, wow, the business mindset that they have, I would love to have that. I would love to learn more about that. That's what's fulfilling about it. We're teaching others in ways that we might not realize that we're teaching them. So when I get too busy and when I just want a quiet day, I realize everything that we're doing is helping somebody else in another way, whatever that looks like, small or big.
That is great. I mean, geez, just listening to you talk and in the few times that we've had network meetings together, you've taught us all that. And then we also had the privilege of having your husband give us some education on social media and marketing recently. And so he was giving an impact and teaching all of us as well. Both of you have that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's what helps. And then you also mentioned your blended family, your child and your stepchildren. What are they seeing with all of this entrepreneurship and all of these projects that you and your husband are getting involved in?
This is obviously this is why we're doing it. You know, everyone wants to create a legacy and leave something for your families and your kids and getting them involved. We have two left at home. The rest have graduated and are out of the house full time. But the two left at home, it's a good time for them because they're both in high school. So they can see and absorb things in a different way. They're not little kids that are like mom and dad's always gone, they're always at the store or whatever the case may be. We've involved them as much or as little as they've wanted to be, sometimes more than they want to be, but that's part of it. But we, again, in a small way, we want to leave a little nugget with them. You might not want to stay up to the store till midnight before we open, but it's going to teach you something. It's going to teach you that all the hard work will pay off. I'll start with my daughter. She loves every second of it. She has said, Mom, do I really need to finish school? Can't I just work at the store and eventually run the store someday? Honey, I wish I could tell you yes, but no. So every moment she can spend in that store, she does. Helping us open the store, she was a very pivotal piece of that. She loved it. She got involved in checking in the inventory, setting up the store. So from the very beginning, she saw a lot of the intricacies and all the hard work that it took to get the store open. And to this day, she works at the store. After school, she'll come in and work the store on weekends. If there's an order checked that needs to be checked in, she knows how to do that. Yet she's also created her own little relationships with everyone in the store, which is important to me because they're all in different parts of their life, as is she. She goes and we have a couple groomers that grew up around horses, and she has a horse and is on the equestrian team and in 4-H. So they have that in common, and they talk about how that impacted their life and how riding a horse, how she loves it and what they used to do. So different impacts. And then I'll go in there and they said, where's Avery? We haven't seen her in a while. So them creating their relationships with her and vice versa. But she absolutely loves it and she sees different aspects of it. My stepson, he is a sophomore in high school, up away. So very different aspect, but he sees different parts of the store and how it runs. He was a part of us helping opening, but in a different way. He did more of help of setting up shelves and getting everything put together, not so much of the day-to-day inventory or working in the store, but he gets to come and go and see a different aspect of it. And I like that piece because he kind of gets to see it from afar as opposed to maybe the intricate details. So he's probably taking away something very different every time he comes into the store than what my daughter takes away or what I take away from it because he's looking at it more holistically, big picture, 30,000 foot view, not stopping and talking to every single groomer, seeing how their day was.
I think that is so great. My younger sister, she had a business. She opened a restaurant a few years ago. She has since moved on from it, but it was really cool to see my niece start waiting tables and just
Mhm.
even at a young age, just seeing how mom runs this business and what it all means and the hours. And so, yeah, I think it's really cool to involve family. And you're right. Sometimes you do have to say, no, you're helping, even if you don't want to. But I like that. I think that's important.
Yeah, and it also helps because I do feel guilty sometimes because when we were opening it, we were spending every moment we had up there, but it was teaching them something, hopefully. But even now, sometimes I feel guilty where I'm spending time in the store where maybe I could be spending time doing something else with her. But then I look at it as we're spending time together in the store as well. So there's that aspect of it. And then that also does help me appreciate those other times that I do need to spend with her. Do we need to do things that she wants to do that don't have anything to do with the store? What's important in her life, or what are the little things that she's going to remember that are outside of that store? And that is really what all of this has kind of helped me realize. Those little pieces in somebody's life, you making time for those. It might be very hard to make time for them because you can fill your schedule up in the blink of an eye,
Right.
but making sure that you leave time for others in your life, whether it's your children, your husband, taking time. And I know we had a conversation about this, taking time with your spouse that you don't talk about work, family, life. Like it's very hard to do when that is your life. When you own businesses with your spouse, sometimes it is very hard to have a conversation about something else. But when you do things in the right way, that time eventually comes. You don't
Hmm.
necessarily plan for it, but all of a sudden you're like, wow, we haven't talked about the store in a few hours. And you're like, that felt good. That was
Hmm.
fulfilling. Um, and then meeting up with friends and just being there for people in the life that need you, that you need as well. I'll make friends appointments or whatever, like, hey, let's go grab dinner, or let's go grab drink something. And then the day comes, it's like, gosh, do I really want to do that? I'm just so tired, or I could fill it with something else. But I was like, you know what? No, I need to. And as soon as I'm there, it was worth it. So it's making you spend that time and force that time with your friends and the people around you because you need it as much as they might need it. You might not realize what you're doing for them, but that meeting or that meeting for drinks could turn into many different things. Laughs, cries, combination between all of it. And at the end, if you feel better, then it was worth it. So sometimes lately, that's a hard thing for me to do is keep, like, I really just want to be home. I just want to be home and not do anything. I've been running around all week, but I need that. I need that to fill my bucket with everything I've been missing, but also they need it too.
Yeah, I feel like you do seem to be or try to be a very intentional person. Even with this podcast, like I said, we had to reschedule a couple of times and you were upset about that and it was like, "No, it's okay. Like we'll figure out a time." And I appreciated that, but it just seems like you're a very intentional purposeful person. Is that true? I mean, am I picking up on that?
Yeah, I never want anyone else to think that my time is more important than anyone else's. Because yes, I am very busy, but so is everyone else in different things. Everyone else can be very busy, even if they just have a 9 to 5. Everyone's busy in their own ways. And the one thing I never want to do, and I'm sure I have in the past 5 months, I don't want to make people feel that my time is more important than them or I'm more busy than anyone else. And I've caught myself projecting that of, gosh, I'm just so busy. They don't care. People really don't care. they they can appreciate it, and I think in a way they do care, but they don't need to hear it. They see it. And they see it, and when they say, gosh, like just like you've said, I admire everything you do. That's a way of them seeing, gosh, she
Mhm.
is busy, but I look up to her busyness. I look up to what she's doing or pieces of that. And I am intentional because I hate canceling on people. Even though sometimes you just have to and you try and move everything else around, but it's like, okay, this won't fit anywhere else. So yes, I think I do try to be intentional, but also I'm not any more busy than anyone else. I just do different things.
Well, I for one, again, I'm not around you every single day, but I will go ahead and compliment you. I don't think you ever act like your time is any more valuable than anyone else's, but it's very impressive because you do have a lot on your plate and they're all different. You're
Uh-huh.
also a busy mom. I mean, there's so many things. I do believe that parents in general feel guilt no matter what. So even if you didn't open a store, something else
Yeah.
probably would have come up and made you feel guilty. I like that you made a comment about your children being a little older, so it was a good time to do what you're doing.
Hmm.
And I just go back to what you're showing them and what you're teaching people. I think I have a son in college. The world is so different now. When we were younger, at least when I was younger, it was like go to school, get your job. That's what you're going to be doing the
Hmm.
rest of your life, make money, get a house, start paying bills. And I think, and you're proving it, that things are different now. There's a lot
Yeah.
of different paths. And yes, your daughter has to finish high school, but after high school, there's all kinds of choices. She doesn't have to follow the same path that
Yeah.
we've all done before. So I appreciate that you and your husband are showing that to them.
Yeah, it is important. It's important to us. They might not see the importance of it, but someday they will. I know looking back, I didn't maybe see the importance of everything my parents were trying to teach me. And I grew up very differently. We all try and give our kids more than what we had, which
Hmm.
is amazing. But I learned a lot from my growing up and my background of what I wanted to give, what I wanted to show, because how I was brought up got me to where I am today, got me to the person I am today, got me to treat other people around me the way that I do treat them. So that's important. And maybe I didn't realize it early enough in life, but we all look back and go, gosh, they did a good job.
Yes, they
They
did
left a
something
nugget in me.
right.
Exactly.
Yes, look at me today, right. Oh, well, I feel like you've given us so many good little nuggets that we're going to take with us. Our listeners can take a lot from what you've said. But sometimes I'll say, what would you go back and tell your younger self? So I kind of will pose that to you, although I think almost everything you've said would be something I would tell my younger self. But if there's something that you missed or you feel our listeners could still learn from what you've learned.
Don't be afraid. Fear is good. A little bit of fear is good because if you're not a little afraid, it won't happen. You'll never push yourself. One of your previous guests dropped their nugget and I've taken this with me and it's actually in our store. They said there's no growth in the comfort zone and no comfort in the growth zone. And that is 1000% true. It goes along with do something that makes you uncomfortable every day. So
Yes.
I would leave that of do something uncomfortable. It's okay. If you fail, if you stumble, if you fall, it's okay because you learn from it. When you start not learning from mistakes, then you need to reevaluate. But just push yourself every single day and there will be scary days, but that's okay. The sun will come out and you'll look back and go, I'm really glad I did that.
Oh, I love that. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast and taking some other nuggets because I really do think most of what you said today was another reason why we're doing this podcast, just to make an impact, to bring joy, to show people that they can do hard things or that they can deal with anything that pops up or comes their way. So I think a lot of what you said really resonates with what I'm trying to do with the podcast and hopefully with all of our listeners. So, oh, such good advice. And I'm excited to see where you keep going. And like I said, we're gonna talk about Wolfgang and we're gonna talk about the greens and grapes and all of the things you've got going in the show notes. So if anyone was interested in some of the things Victoria said, you'll be able to follow along there. And yeah, go on Instagram and follow Wolfgang and Facebook and you see the little pictures of the cute dogs that got groomed. So make sure that you do that after this episode. But it's just been such a pleasure. Like I said, I was totally fine being flexible, but it was worth it. You were worth the wait. This is going to be a great episode for our listeners and hopefully it just reminds people not to be afraid and that they can walk through some of those doors even if they're not completely open. You might be excited about what's on the other side. So, thank you so much for being a guest. It was awesome having you and I can't wait to have our listeners hear your stories.
Thank you, Andrew. It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you for joining me for the Show Me the Way podcast. I truly appreciate you tuning in to today's episode about overcoming adversity and finding your path. I hope it brought you new insights, empowered you with perspective, and inspired you to find joy in your journey. If this episode touched your heart, don't forget to leave a quick review as it will help us reach and motivate more people. Until next time, keep seeking the light and showing the way.